Hello, everybody. The claim that I am responding to today is video games are beneficial to children. And my opponent's secondary claims were video games help maintain a longer attention span, video games help improve visual and reading skills, and video games can inspire new interests in children. My response to her first secondary claim is, my opponent stated that video games help maintain a longer attention span. She said that James Gee, an education professor, wrote in his book that kids with certain degrees of ADHD are still able and willing to play games for many consecutive hours. What this is saying is that a child with ADHD could pick up any video game on any platform, begin playing it, and it would result in an improved attention span, which is not true. And according to a USA Today article that interviewed Dr. Aitman, Chief of Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics at Schneider Children's Hospital in New York, says that studies have yet to show video game play with a neurofeedback component has either a short-term or long-term benefit. In fact, a study done by Edward Swing, a doctoral candidate of psychology at Iowa State University, says children who play video games more than 2 hours a day are 67% more likely to have greater than average attention problems than those who do not. My response to her secondary claim is, my opponent stated that video games help to improve visual and reading skills. She claims that research done by the University of Rochester in New York provided evidence that those who played video games as a child compared to those who did not were better at observing their surroundings. She did not cite this, but I found a very similar study that said, by the University of Rochester, that says not all video games have these effects. For the skill study so far, only action games led to greater benefits than other entertainment games, which means that it could be possible to improve visual and reading skills, but the type of games that children would be exposed to are the kind which they are not allowed to buy or play because of mature audience ratings. It would be like saying R-rated movies or some other form of media entertainment that is intended only for adults can help with hand-eye coordination, and so we should let children watch it because it will benefit them, and it's just wrong. My response to her third secondary claim is, my opponent stated that video games can inspire new interest in children. In her speech, she said that Professor Gee was studying a group of kids who were playing a game of Age of Mythology, and that it sparked a curiosity in them that made them want to learn more about mythology. But if this were true, then couldn't kids also play violent video games and be influenced to do bad things? There are already many situations where kids have killed over video games, like a boy in Russia who took a sledgehammer to his father's head while his father was sleeping because he was not allowed to play his computer game. So in conclusion, I believe that video games are not beneficial to children.
All right, Raphael, you did a nice job labeling the claim and the secondary claims in the body of the speech. You moved to each of those points very clearly, so it was easy to follow what you were saying. On each of the points, you did have some interesting arguments. You had a challenge to the ADHD issue. It sounded like you were suggesting that the advocate's evidence was making a sweeping generalization. You need to explain that a little bit more clearly, but you did have a good quote to offer a counterclaim here and challenge the positive impact, and I thought that that was good because it was very specific on the attention deficit issue. On the second point, again, a smooth transition. There's no specific challenge to the evidence or the reasoning that the advocate presents, but you do have an okay evidential response on your own, so you've got a counterclaim here, but without much depth of analysis of the advocate's argument, I don't know how I'm supposed to compare the argument that you made with the one that they made. On the third point, you know, it's kind of the same sort of issue. You've got an okay hypothetical question, and you've got one example that you use as an illustration of that. I think there probably is more useful, broader evidence to make that counterclaim with. And again, I think that you know, it's an interesting hypothetical sort of comparison that you're making there, but you don't really challenge the way the advocate presented their argument in the first place. All right, thank you.